Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I've got a mic echo. That's not fun. There we go. That's much better. How you guys doing today? Trav here. And here, I've been seeing a ton of FUD on the timeline. First things first, lots of fear and trepidation when it comes to the markets. Understandably so. So I think, like 20 minutes here. So I figured I'd do an actual deep dive into what's going on in the market right now. Take a look at the charts, take a look at the on chain data, take a look at the sentiment, because that's really what's going to tell us what the heck is going on. And we're not going to speculate. We're just going to take a look at the data, take a look at the facts, and draw our own theories, theses, philosophies, all that fun stuff here to see what the heck is happening. So appreciate you guys being here. We do have a couple of people hanging out with us already. That's wonderful. Appreciate you guys. My name is Trav, and I love to do um, market updates, hosting interviews, and yeah, video edit. That's kind of my bread and butter out here on X. That doing the market analysis, TA and on-chain data analysis. That's kind of that was my bread and butter here in crypto here. So I've been doing this now for about 5+ years, and I absolutely love it. Now, before we get into it, I do want to give a quick, massive shout out to Sandmint and their flagship product, Sandbase. It's amazing. Huge shout out. They've hooked me up with a year trial for the pro version, and it allows us to take a look to see what's actually happening on chain, how to interpret it. But even more powerful than that, they're able to let us know, what the social sentiment is by gathering all the data from X, Telegram, a bunch of different other platforms here as well, and actually put it to use. And they've done studies on this, and they show that a lot of these different indicators that they have are accurate, like 70+% of the time, in actually trying to figure out what's going to happen with Bitcoin next, or whichever other token you're going to be looking at. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the chart here. I'm just going to pop this up as we speak. All right. So if you guys caught my live stream yesterday, I did an impromptu live stream where I was doing some live stream clipping. Which, if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I'll definitely do those more often here. But oh, Riverside gave me some issues. So let's hope that it doesn't do the same today. But I digress once again here. So here's the daily chart. This is kind of all of the data that we've seen since basically a year ago to date, actually. Right now, I have my mouse on November 10th, 2024, and you can see where we're at now. Like, we recent plummet all the way down to, I guess, the lowest that we've seen in a very long time. We're at 93, just over 93.5K. We haven't seen these levels since back in May of this year here. So it kind of sucks to see. Now, a couple of things to interpret from this right away is if any of you guys have followed my technical analysis before, my on-chain analysis before, you'll know that I absolutely love volume. Volume is my bread and butter when it comes to interpreting charts here, and this is what I'm going to use here today. First things first, to really kind of figure out what's happening. So you can check out volume in two different ways: the volume down here over time, and then the volume over here by price. And to kind of, now that we're below kind of this trending range that we've been in since May, I moved the this tool here, this volume by price, all the way back to November 2024. That's because this is the last time that we really saw price lingering around these levels. So we want to see where the interest was. Now, you can see right off the bat, the most prevalent level was about not almost, let's be about 96K. Right now, we're kind of below that. So what can I kind of tell by this? So first of all, we if we were to have stopped above this purple level here, and that's the volume point of control, that's the single spot where where Bitcoin saw the most um the most interest at that level. If we had kind of stopped above that, then I could see, that being a pretty solid support for Bitcoin moving forward here. But we're kind of trending below that. So all that to say is I can see us continuing to go a little bit lower. I would not be surprised if we do test 90K, especially because these down thrusts have been super freaking powerful. And look, even though price was able to kind of get back up here after all these downturns, you know, just one of the most basic and easy things that you can do to interpret charts is compare the moves down to the moves up. And right now, it's no competition. Every time price tries to even go up, it's dwarfed by the downturns here. So, all that to say, I do believe we are in a correction right now. Do I believe that we're in the bear market? Absolutely not. I do personally believe that we are exiting the 4-year cycles of Bitcoin and we're in a long term bull market right now. Just because of like taking a look at all of the massive adoption when it's come to Bitcoin here, all of the interest with institutions, all of the interest, from key players all across the world here. I don't personally believe just from like a macroeconomic standpoint that Bitcoin's gonna go test like 50, 60K. Again, I could be wrong. We do still have a ton of massive supports between here and there. And I do think, we do just need to have a healthy retest before price goes back up. And I think this massive black swan event that we had back in October, where more people were liquidated than even during the FTX collapse, we're gonna be feeling that for a little bit. So do I think we're gonna go back and test all-time highs anytime soon? No. Do I think we're gonna crash below all these significant levels and hit 50, 60K? No. I think we're going to kind of accumulate around here for the next little while. I think people need to kind of heal and kind of become comfortable again with Bitcoin before they start jumping back in. And yeah, I think we're going to kind of trend around these lower levels of around maybe even as low as like 80K. I hope not, but I mean, we don't have much in between here and there right now in terms of volume, but I don't see us going much lower than that. Not financial advice, just my own personal opinion here. So, yeah, no, let's continue on. Let's go check out the actual on-chain data because I don't have a crazy amount of time here. Just gonna pull up the studio. Let's put up the on-chain data here. Now, I did take a quick look at this ahead of time. Oh my goodness. That was incredibly rude, and I apologize. Absolutely apologize. Yeah, so I did take a look at these indicators before jumping on the screen, and there's definitely some interesting stuff here. Definitely some interesting stuff. Is it mega bullish? Is it mega bearish? Oop, that's not at all what I wanted to do. Do you guys see that? Okay, very good. I somehow turned on the teleprompter and it completely blocked my screen here. So, anyways, I digress once again. Let's get into these charts here. I'm just gonna situate myself, making sure everything's still smooth on X here, and it certainly is. All right. So this one here is transaction volume. Crazy amount of transaction volume here on November 14th. You can see once we hit those new recent low kind of those local lows, there's a huge amount of volume that happened around then. It's impossible to say really, well, maybe not impossible, but it's hard to say with 100% certainty whether this was buy or sell volume. But let's find out. You can see just the price, even where we're at now, it's lower than we've been in a very, very long time. Sucks to see, but we are seeing it regardless here. This one here, daily active addresses. This one doesn't really tell me a whole lot. I'm not really going to concern myself with that. This one here is interesting. This one's the MVRV. And what's interesting to know now is that if you've been holding Bitcoin for the past year, you are officially at a loss. So why is that significant? First of all, it's just wild to think that after all of the recent all-time highs that we've smashed over and over and over again, that this is the case. It does really seem like you've been in the space for a while. It seems like it was just yesterday that Bitcoin was down at like 50K, and we'd already had that run like right out of the depths of the bear market when Bitcoin was all the way down to like 25K. But it really doesn't seem like that long since Bitcoin has been that like just smashing all-time high after all-time high. But it's been over a year now, And looking back at this indicator here, actually, you know what? I wonder if I can. It's going to be tough for you guys to see here, but because my thing's in the way. Let's see. There we go. Now you guys can actually see, so I apologize for that. Yeah, no, now we can see people have been holding Bitcoin for a year, obviously 30 days, are at a significant loss. Now, if we zoom out here a little bit more, we can take a look and see what happens when price is kind of when people are at this significant amount of a loss. And the last time we saw this for people holding Bitcoin for a year was back in April 2025. And look what happened after that. Price went up. I believe it did make a new all-time high. Yeah, May 25th, or no, sorry, May 22nd, and then proceeded it again to climb as well. So all that to say is this indicator is actually pretty bullish for the short to midterm even. So, because this is the most significant drop that we've seen in a while, I am not 100% expecting to see this turn price around immediately. It might sink a little bit lower first because this is the most significant correction that we've seen for a while. In saying that, this indicator is actually bullish. So let's keep going. Here are the funding rates. These ones are very, very telling here. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. Let's see here. So what's the deal with funding rates? So again, kind of like MVRV, it has an inverse relation. Sorry, just making sure everything's streaming smoothly here, and it certainly is. Usually, how this works is the price goes the opposite direction, at which people are leveraged in the market because price likes to liquidate. It very much likes to liquidate here. So historically, what happens is when I guess just to back up a little bit, if you've never seen this indicator before, when this indicator is super red, price is more likely to go up. But when this indicator is super green, price is more likely to go down. And that's because, and basically what this means is like this tells us where people are positioned, whether they're long or short, when using either perpetuals or leverage trading, like derivatives, if you will. And so usually what we see is when people are going super, super, super long, inevitably price will then crash so that all those positions will be liquidated, which actually is exactly what happened here on yeah, I believe October 10th, when all those people were like liquidated, like a significant amount. You can see all of the positions that were long here, and all of them were completely liquidated. I believe it was over $20 billion in liquidations that happened at that point. Absolutely wild here. So what I'm seeing from this is that, where people are actually still betting quite long, and that's a concern for me. I want to see I want to see that fear start to accumulate. I want to see people start to bet super, super short on the market that price is going to continue to go down. I think people are definitely expecting price to bounce again at this point. So this one actually, to me right now, does look pretty bearish. Um, so I'm gonna be waiting to see like really like the funding rates kind of pick a lane, because like if we zoom out, we can see like it's still like compared to some of these previous times here, like we're still kind of hanging out towards the middle. So I really do want to see like either like in order to see price go up, rather I want to see this red really accumulate below the neutral line, and we're not seeing that yet. So this one's, if anything, it's kind of neutral, slightly bearish, but right now I'm leaning way more towards the MVRV and creating my own thesis. So overall, I'm leaning slightly bullish, but I don't see that happening right off the bat. So moving on, whale transaction count, they've been active on these levels, like extremely active. So let's go see what they're doing. So here's exactly what they've been doing here, and there's a couple different things. So let's let's check them out one at a time here. So, so far the sharks, which are the people who have between 10 and 100 Bitcoin in their wallet, not as significant as some of these mega whales who have between 10,000 and 100,000. They are their their numbers are going down. They're not accumulating anymore. They're taking profits. Well, probably not profits at this point, but they're selling. That's not ideal, especially considering there's over 132,000 wallets that have between 10 and 100 Bitcoin in their wallet now. See that number going down is discouraging here. So let's go up a little bit. Let's go check out the people who have between 100 and 1,000 Bitcoin, and there are 17,000 wallets at this level here. They're also declining. So that's also bearish. Now, these ones, this is where it gets interesting here. But we have to, there is a caveat that comes with this. People who have between 1,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin, and people who have between 10,000 and 100,000 Bitcoin are accumulating. However, people who only have between 1,000 and 10,000 Bitcoin, there's only less than 2,000 of them. And now if we check out the people who have between 10,000 and 100,000, there's only 84 of them. So, like I said in previous streams, and what I'm very, very, very adamant about is that the mega whales, they're the most connected, they're the richest, they have the most liquidity, they have the most resources, they have the most connections. These are the ones who are going to know that a big move is coming before the big move is coming. They're the ones who are going to move the markets the biggest or the most, rather. To see them accumulating is bullish. However, they are being outweighed by these sharks and these like lesser whales just based on the sheer number of them. So what we need to see before price starts to go up again is for these sharks, the people who have between 10 and 1,000 Bitcoin in their wallet, we need to see that start to kind of stabilize or maybe even slightly go up for these mega whales to have much of an impact on the market here. So all that to say though, is I'm still going to see this as kind of bear or as kind of bullish because the insiders, because the macro mega turbo whales are accumulating, like, especially these ones that have between 1,000 and 10,000 coins. There's 2,000 of them. This orange line here, like that's a pretty significant uptick. So I'm leaning towards more bullish. At the very least, I'm gonna say that this helps my thesis that we're not gonna see those incredibly low levels of 50 to 60K. Just gonna check to see if anyone is chatting with us here real quick here. If you guys do, have any questions, any comments, I'd love for these things to be interactive. So feel free to let me know where you're at. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions, concerns, fears, hopes, dreams, whatever they may be. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Again, don't have much longer here. So definitely get that in ASAP. So this next chart here, this is just it's merging of all of the Bitcoin account holders, the Bitcoin whales that have between 10 and 10,000 coin or Bitcoin in their wallet. We can see this overall number is going down, but here's what I want to do. I want to add in the whales that have between 10 and 100,000 coins. Let's see what they're doing. See, yeah, this line is going up slowly. So that's still very bullish. Now, one thing I want to do here, let's unmerge this one. Let's put that one back up. I want to do one more. Let's do two of them, actually. Let's do people who have between 10 and 1,000. And then let's do people who have between 1,000 and 10,000. This is also telling. So this is the one that I need to see flip. And what's really interesting is this massive spike is very correlated. So it's almost like a lot of the people who did have between, what was it again? 10 and 1,000 coins, almost it went down because they became holders that had between 1,000 and 100,000 coins. One could interpret it that way. So doubling down on this being bullish. Maybe that works. Maybe the math doesn't work out so well. I'm starting to second guess that, but I just find that very, very interesting how in this one specific instance on November 6th, these whales, like the number of whales who had between 1,000 and 100,000 went up, and the number of whales who had between 10 and 1,000 went down so significantly. That's just very, very interesting to me. Overall, I'm going to lean bullish. At least we're safe from plummeting into the depths here. So let's keep going. There's one more indicator that I really, really want to check out here because it's awesome. It's this one, right? Or there's two of them here. There's social dominance here. This is the biggest spike that we've seen on Bitcoin chatter since July this year here. And this, I actually saw a post by Sentiment, and they mentioned that this could be a very, very bullish signal. The fact that people are so active on talking about Bitcoin is absolutely wild here. And if we go to this one here, the weighted sentiment, we can see that most of this chatter was actually very, very bearish, very, very fearful. That is actually very, very bullish because they found that price typically moves in the opposite direction than what the sentiment is. So for price to be this, or for sentiment to be this bearish, you can see throughout history that when sentiment does kind of hit these lows, price does tend to go up. And again, that's kind of one of those inversely correlated relationships between Bitcoin price and the indicator here. So this is good. So this is good in my opinion here. The last one is the development activity. It is, it's maintaining. It's been going up recently. I love to see that. I think that's just generally that may not be as correlated with price of Bitcoin here, but I do love to see it. Yeah, seeing this on the rise signifies, a healthy and active blockchain and a healthy active protocol in this, and just the higher the better in my perspective here. So that's that. So to kind of summarize here, my overall thesis is that this is looking decent. It's not looking like we're going to continue to plummet down to zero. It's not even going to look like we're going to plummet down to 60K. It's that this is the things are happening behind the scene that I believe will help kind of um, keep what's what I'm looking for? Keep Bitcoin in and around where it is now. I don't see any significant plummets in the very near future, and that's awesome. That's encouraging to me. So let's before I wrap it up here, let's quickly go check out some of the social trends that are happening right now here. Maybe let's actually check the trending stories real quick, and then we'll check out the trending coins just because this is exclusive information that none of you guys are actually going to be able to have like I do here. So, first trending story is Zcash momentum actually rises, leaning towards bullish. Zcash is gaining strong momentum, outperforming major assets despite a broader market downturn. Institutional interest and upcoming tech upgrades like Project Tachyon and near integration. Where did it go? Fuel optimism. Okay. Zcash. I know last time we checked this out, there were some FUD going on about Zcash, so I'm definitely gonna want to look into that. But the fact that it's outperforming Bitcoin is very, very interesting. Next one here, Dev Connect in Buenos Aires meet, I believe, Quantic. Shout out to you, Quantic, is there right now and absolutely crushing it. So crypto builders and enthusiasts have gathered in Buenos Aires for Dev Connect, the largest Ethereum event to date, with over 15,000 attendees from 130 plus countries. That is amazing. That is bullish on the sentiment scale. I love to see it. Last thing here, VeChain UFC 322 Rise. VeChain showcased its Renaissance roadmap progress at UFC 322, highlighted by the launch of its super app, V World, a strong brand presence through sponsorships and partnerships. Oh, here we go. Islam Makhachev, his rise to UFC welterweight champion, drew significant attention, boosting VeChain's visibility. Awesome. I love to see it. I had no doubt that he would win. And Drew, if you're watching, congratulations on all your success there, brother. That is awesome here. Now, let's quickly wrap it up by checking out the top trending coins. Again, you guys do not have access to this, so you're welcome. Top 3 trending coins are BTC, obviously, Starknet, their token Stark, also very interesting, and then Solana. Not at all surprised. Apparently, there's a UFC fan token. That's interesting. Positive sentiment, 78.95%. That is wild. That is absolutely huge. Okay, let's take a look. The top gainers right now are D Agent AI, Art Trade, and Earn Network with whopping almost 600% plus gains. Whereas the top losers, hold up, anytime now. Here we go. Here we go. Let's take a look here. Reploy, Eamon, and Langcat. Never heard of anything, but they all have greater than 100% in downturns. Cool beans. Let's leave it at that. So why is Bitcoin trending? It's a little bit on the bearish side, which is we've already agreed that we like to see. The word Bitcoin is trending due to extensive discussions about Bitcoin's investment potential, price behavior, and dominance in the crypto market compared to altcoins. Okay, why is it bullish? Yep, market is engulfed in extreme fear with the fear and greed index. Why is it bullish? Is currently generating strong bullish sentiment across social media and crypto communities, driven by several key factors. One, institutional accumulation, which we saw a second ago. So, validating that, major players like Michael Saylor and companies such as American Bitcoin continue aggressive Bitcoin buying. I love it. Market structure and technicals. Despite recent dips to around 95K, Bitcoin's market structure remains solid with support levels near 94, 95K. We also discovered that is amazing. Technical indicators show tightening volatility, record low Bollinger Bands. Okay, yep, that for sure. You know, when you have, you guys don't know what a Bollinger Band is. It's like a cloud that envelops price, and price usually it kind of acts like a spring for price. When price dips through the bottom of it too much, it tends to force price to rebound back in the opposite direction. So I can absolutely see that. Apparently, there's a short squeeze potential. There's record high of leveraged shorts on Bitcoin, creating a setup for massive short squeeze. If Bitcoin pushes above key resistance levels like 100K, this could trigger liquidations worth billions, fueling rapid upward momentum. Okay, that one I'm not entirely sure about because as we saw, there's not a whole lot of people in the funding rates, anyways, on the exchanges that we took a look at that are really going short at the moment. So I'll have to maybe argue with this one. I think soon we'll see a lot more shorts start to accumulate, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that here. So short squeeze potential, growing adoption, ecosystem development, obviously, macro and market sentiment, despite some fear and volatility, major financial oh my goodness, excuse me. I just had some coffee. Now I'm burping like crazy here. Major financial institutions like JP Morgan maintain bullish outlooks. Okay, pause the phone. When you see massive financial institutions like JP Morgan, um, what is it? Something BlackRock, when they're publicly vocal about their sentiment, I always take that with a grain of salt. And I almost always, you know, expect, well, first of all, I know that their words uh, drastically affect the market and social sentiment. So if they are saying they are bullish, that means they want you to be bullish so that they can take your crypto in the end of the day, so that they can liquidate you. So this one makes me nervous. I don't like it when big financial institutions open their mouths here because I don't trust it at all. So let's just skim over that one here. Long-term holder confidence. Long-term holder confidence remains intact in gradual BTC growth, continuing to accumulate during dips. So yeah, we've already established that one as well here. So very, very cool. Now let's take a look at Stark. Why is Stark trending? And it's just kind of midway bullish, bearish. It's a little like it's a sliver over towards bullish here. Now, why? It's trending due to significant bullish momentum and trading activity around the StarkNet token. Okay, why is it bullish? Is driven by several key factors: strong price momentum, technical setup. Let's have a look here. It's all technicals, positive fundamental developments. Like what? Project is actively engaging in bullish fundamentals such as token buybacks, which support price stability and growth. Okay, growing ecosystem and layer two appeal. Apparently, it's positioned as a layer two solution on Ethereum, leveraging ZK rollup technology and modular blockchain architecture. This aligns with current market trends favoring scalability, privacy, and Web3 infrastructure. Okay, I get it. It's good. What's changed? Like, what's the news here? Broader market context and correlations. Let's see here. Okay, so apparently, um, oh, okay, I did hear this. Stark's rise is part of a broader trend where privacy and zero knowledge proof projects like ZEC, ZK, and Zen are gaining attention. There it is. Yes, I heard that privacy focused projects and tokens right now are outperforming the market. They're all going up while Bitcoin's going down. So that explains why Stark is going really, really well. So definitely keep your eyes on that. I do caution you though, usually if you're already hearing about the hype, the move has already happened. So just be careful, do your own due diligence and really make sure that you're um yeah, you're confident in which direction you want to go here. So finally, Solana. It's trending due to its frequent mention in discussions about portfolios, market caps, ETF holdings. It is slightly bullish as well. So apparently, it's attracting strong bullish sentiment driven by several key factors: massive institutional accumulation, digital asset treasuries, and ETFs now hold over 24 million SOL, around $3.4 billion, signaling significant institutional confidence and major supply lockup that reduces circulating tokens. Leading blockchain metrics, growing staking and investor confidence, upcoming launches and ecosystem growth. New projects and NFT collections on Solana, such as Wallchain and Alpha Wrap, are gaining traction with strong early demand, suggesting expanding utility and community engagement. Okay, cross-chain and DeFi innovations, of course, market cycle positioning. Okay, many traders view price levels as a bottom or near bottom with expectations of a reversal and renewed upward momentum supported by technical resets and then institutional buying. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, nothing really new per se, but um very encouraging. So why are people bearish? Price decline and weak support. Yes, Solana has dropped to a multi-month low, recently falling under 140 $140. This is the lowest price since June, with some expecting it to test even lower support zones around $124 or below. Fortunately, yes, I agree with that. Market structure breakdown, that's part of it. Institutional versus retail dynamics, despite significant ETF inflows into Sol, over 3.4 billion, like we spoke about earlier. Retail traders continue to sell, indicating a divergence between institutional accumulation and retail capitulation. This mismatch can lead to increased volatility and downward pressure if retail selling intensifies. For the love of God, don't sell your soul. You know what? No financial advice. I can't legally say that, but soul is amazing. Why would you want to? Why would you want to? Broader crypto market weakness, of course, whale selling and losses. Large holders have been offloading SOL at a loss, as evidenced by whale selling 33,000 Solana, approximately 4.7 million, after holding for 7 months, but still ending in the red despite staking rewards. This signals lack of confidence among big investors or just not very smart investor. Again, why would you sell at a loss? I never understood this. Regardless, market sentiment and social media tone, whatever. I'm done with that. I'm still bullish. Very, very, very bullish. Solana is the future, period. Now, before we go, I do want to quickly check out this UFC token. Apparently, it's super bullish. So it's trending due to major UFC event featuring high-profile fights such as Islam Makhachev coming to UFC as if he won the welterweight championship. Man, that's nuts. And Valentina Shevchenko, she fought again. Damn, as if I missed this fight. She defended her title. That's incredible. So bullish sentiment around UFC created crypto project, particularly the Fight token and its ecosystem partners like Join Fight ID. Huge shout out to you again there, Drew. Stems from several key factors. Yeah, anyways, okay. People are bullish on the UFC token. I think we understand why. I get it. It's got a ton of vision. They had that partnership with VeChain, which is huge. And yeah, no, I think I'm all into it. I'm all into it here. I appreciate that UFC is so vocal in the crypto market here. And yeah, that sounds good. So short and sweet one here today, guys. Really appreciate you guys taking the time. I don't think we have any comments here, but that is totally cool. Yeah. So we got let's just take a moment here. Let's rewind and let's just summarize what we saw today. So basically where I'm landing with all of this is that I think we're in for a bit more pain. However, I am I am confident to say that we are not in a bear market and that this is a healthy and necessary um, bounce, not a bounce. There's a word I'm looking for. Retracement. There it is. In price action. Price needs to cool off because it's been going sky high with three rockets attached to its back for a very, very long time. Especially with everything that happened over early October with that massive liquidation event. People are afraid, and rightfully so. And think confidence needs to build once again here. So yeah, I do expect us to be kind of hanging around these levels for a little bit longer. We may see a little bit lower, like for example, in Bitcoin, I would not be surprised to see it go as low as 88 or yeah, 88,000 for Solana. I would not be surprised to see it hit, 124, 123 dollars here. But we are still in a very, very solid market structure here. We haven't broke any of those really, really important support levels. And yeah, just overall, just looking at the macro fundamentals of crypto in general, but especially Bitcoin, especially Solana, I'm feeling very, very bullish. The fact that the timelines are still quite active, people are still building, there are launches happening, there are updates, developer activity is increasing. I'm all leaning bullish. So looking at the indicators, we had the MVRV, which was very bullish. We haven't seen that indicator that low for a long time. And when it was that low, price did rip significantly afterwards. Is it going to rip this time? I don't think so. But I can see, us it being at the point where it can at least maintain price around where it is, maybe sends it up within the next week or so, couple of weeks in short to midterm. Whales, the important ones are accumulating, which is huge. Yes, the sharks have been dumping, but like I said, that in itself is enough to keep price safe and in the long term, help it go back up, which is huge. And then last thing was the social sentiment. People are absolutely talking about Bitcoin right now. It's awesome to see. It shows a ton of interest. It hasn't been this high for a very, very long time. People are feeling very, very fearful and bearish, which is awesome because when that happens, price goes in the opposite direction, which is up. So love to see it. Oh, last one, of course, was the funding rates. Funding rates, I need to see it pick a lane. It needs to be super bearish to see price go skyward, rocket upwards. Um, because yeah, price likes to liquidate people, and we're just not in a position for that to happen yet for the upside. So all that to say, I think we're in a very, very normal, very necessary correction in the market. I don't think we're going to go any like significantly lower. We might go again down to 88K for Bitcoin. We might go down to $124 in Solana, but I don't see this being the capitulation event that everyone is so afraid of. All I gotta say is for me personally, I'm gonna be continuing to accumulate during this dip. These are excellent sale prices. I do hold for the long term. So my goals are focused on the long term. I do have a small allocation of my portfolio that I do use for directional trades. I think we're too low for me to go short on Bitcoin because the downside just isn't there. And there's no way in hell that I'm betting long on Bitcoin right now because price is so weak. So the upside's not there either. I need to wait for things to stabilize. So that's my thesis. Make sure to do your own due diligence. Make sure to check your emotions at the door. Um, Fear and greed will liquidate you 10 times out of 10. And that's it. Appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed that, let me know. Let's talk about it. If you have any other opinions, let me know as well. I'd love to kind of get some feedback and to continue to do these. If you did enjoy this, I will absolutely be doing these again in the future. And in saying that, appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful Sunday. Looking forward to a action-packed week. this week on Web3 Matters. Tons of fun stuff coming to you guys. Make sure to follow Web3 Matters for all the updates.